We're going to talk a little bit about shop procedures this morning. Come in and say, hey, I got a project I want to work on. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what you're doing with the project, what kind of work you want done, and what your budget is on the project. If it's a bigger project where it takes lots and lots of computer time figuring out, we will charge for a build sheet, and the build sheet will give a how much and a timeline of your build here. Depending on what it is, like the scope of work, how much the build sheet actually costs. This Falcon showed up, and it basically just back from the chassis house. They wanted to know how much it was going to be to go ahead and paint the roll cage and do seam sealer work on the floor, go ahead and clean it up, and just basically get everything on the car put in a primer or a coating that it will preserve the work that's been done. No paint work, no jam work, no dash work, interior work like that. But yes, paint the cage, seam seal the floor. We talked about budget. Right here is examples of our build sheets. And I should probably, I'm just gonna talk about them. We're not gonna show them because we got personal information on here. So you can see by the white space on the paper from this one to this one that there's a lot of difference in what's going on. And give the customer the options of what they want to do for their car, and let them decide how much they want to spend in the work they want done. But as an example, this one is the cheapest work, and it's roughly $4,500 to do what the customer wants done. And then entails like removing bare minimum parts that need to be removed from the car, prepping everything for paint, go ahead and painting the roll bar, priming the floor pans, and undercoating the body of the car. That's like bottom of the barrel. We have two middle row options, which aren't really difference in price, more difference in the direction that it's done. So like this one's $6,200. And it's basically, instead of doing all the wire wheel and the mechanical work on the floor pans to get the rust off of it, we're giving it an acid wash. And then we're treating it with everybody's favorite 415 paint on top of the acid wash. It's an acceptable way of doing it. And we got another one here where instead of doing the acid wash, it's actually getting put on the rotisserie. And everything's getting wire wheeled down, and that's getting put in an epoxy primer. Both of those are acceptable means of doing it. But this one's 72 instead of 62. So do you want the 415 easy, or do you want the epoxy where if you wanted to go ahead and paint something later, you could go ahead and do the paint work on it after the epoxy's done? You can do some undercoat work on 415, but it's bulletproof. Like you could bounce a bullet off of it. It sets up so hard, so it's kind of hard to paint on top of that unless you're going to do like an implement enamel or something like that. So there's your two choices for your middle road. And your high road, it's like pretty close to $12,000. Big difference, almost double. But the $12,000 one is putting it on a rotisserie, taking the chassis work off the car, going and having all the new control arms and suspension work sent to the powder coater and get sandblasted and powder coated. It's getting the car sandblasted inside and out. Not the body, just the inside of the car, just the same amount of paint area, but it's going to the blaster, so it gets mounted to the rotisserie, goes to the blaster. It's got delivery fees and tow fees in there for getting to and from the blaster, and that is by far the best to make it the best car it can be, but that doesn't necessarily have to be this car. Like, it's just an option for them and what they want to do. And so that's an example of how we get a project in. This is how we go for, this is how we communicate to you, the customer, on the process that gets done to your car within your budget for what you want to spend on your vehicle. So it really puts you in charge of what we're doing here. And if there is something that lands outside of scope, we can stop everything in a phone call to talk about that before a decision's made, where you really understand what's going on. You're still in charge of your final bill. So it's kind of a crash course in the first steps of the relationship that we build with you, the customer, here at Liles Performance, on getting a project done, even partially or completely. So just a little more insight to what we do here. Thank you.